I know that you growing up, your mama and your daddy always did this.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that you always need to do this and bring it into your new marriage, right?
Exactly.
So
you have to stand up for your spouse.
Yeah.
Please do that. That is a must. I just want people to be comfortable with boundaries. Boundaries don't mean that you have to be harsh or cold.
you know, holidays can bring out the best and the worst in families. We tell ourselves it's about joy and peace, but behind the smiles, there's often stress, guilt, and tension. Today, we're talking about why this time of year hits different and how to navigate family dynamics without losing your sanity, your marriage, or your joy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Marriage with Jim and Teresa. I'm your host, Jim. Joining me in studio are my co-hosts. First, my wife of the last 40 years, the mother of our 4 children, Teresa.
Hey, Jim.
And youngest daughter of the last 33 years, Elizabeth.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
So, we're talking about, we went back and forth. Oh, before we do that, a couple of housekeeping things. Would you take a moment right now and subscribe to the show, like the show, and share the show with a few of your friends? That would help us so much in terms of getting the message out. And we want to offer you a gift. So I think we've talked about this before. Teresa and I wrote a book a few years ago, Marriage, What to Do Before and After I Do. It's a handbook, we think, to practically ensure marital relationship success. And we want to give away, what's the number? 50,000 copies. If we really believe this will help marriages like we say, and we do, because we've used it in the counseling center, we want to give away 50,000 copies. Okay, Jim, I want a copy. Well, glad you said that. Here's all you got to do. Go to marriagewithjimandteresa.com, marriagewithjimandteresa.com, and request your free copy of our best-selling book, Marriage, What to Do Before and After You Say I Do.
Thank you so much, Dad, for doing the introduction, going over everything. This is actually one of my favorite topics, navigating family dynamics, because I think that you and Mom have created such a very cool dynamic. And I used to think that it was by accident, probably is by the grace of God for sure. But I also, as I've gotten older, just understand how intentional you all were with your parenting and creating traditions and creating a safe and secure and peaceful family dynamic. So I'm very excited to talk about the topic today.
Oh,
Really?
good.
Yeah. Why are you surprised?
I just didn't know you were that excited about this particular topic.
Well, I hear there's just so many things that I see on social media about family dynamics, and it's like, we don't talk anymore, or this or that, and everybody has their reasons. I'm not going to say that, you should never get to the point where you don't talk to your family. It does kind of depend on what they've done, but I do think that for a lot of people, the holidays can either be the most fun time or the most depressing time. Just statistically speaking, this is the time for a lot of people when stress, anxiety, even thoughts of suicide go up. So I feel like this topic may be, or I hope our conversation today is healing for a lot of people.
Okay.
So we'll kick it off. Yeah, I'll pass it over to you, Mom.
Okay, so let's just look at some holiday family challenges. So one is just having differing traditions and expectations when you're going into the holidays. Holidays often bring together people who grew up in different customs, or they have different ideas of what they really want. One side of the family might open gifts, let's just say Christmas Eve, and then another might want to do it Christmas Day, or they might insist Christmas morning. And I would say that myself, I would say Christmas morning, but
we would open at least one gift on Christmas Eve. So maybe that was the compromise between the two of you.
Well,
what was the story behind why we
always did. My side of the family always did Christmas morning, and we did that for, I think, our own family, doing a Christmas Eve thing. But go ahead.
Yeah, the Christmas Eve gift opening, and we're talking obviously specifically about Christmas right now, although we're talking about holidays in general and traditions in general. The Christmas Eve thing was something that we started because early in our marriage, early in your childhood, we would get up Christmas morning and drive when we lived in Memphis an hour and a half. Then when we lived in Jackson, Mississippi, 3 hours to start the holiday. So rather than delay Christmas and the gift opening, because that's all y'all were thinking about, opening gifts. Which is always funny to me. Why on Christmas, Jesus' birthday, or the day we've set aside to celebrate it, do you get gifts? But that's a whole nother conversation.
Hey, this is the society we live in. This is where y'all chose to live. Other societies, maybe they don't do that. So since we knew you guys were excited about opening gifts and we had that long drive on Christmas morning, we added the Christmas Eve gift opening, at least a gift, to kind of appease the excitement a little bit. Tone it down
kind of appease the excitement among the children for opening gifts. But I guess the thing about this conversation and the thing about how we came up with something, here's the important thing. We've skipped over this part. So you bring two separate families together who came in with traditions and customs. So maybe we're going to get to this later because y'all didn't share the notes with me, so I don't have them.
We share the notes with him every week.
So you, obviously, Teresa, want to spend Christmas with your family. That's what you've grown up doing. Mm-hmm. I want to spend Christmas with my family. So that starts right there, the compromise. Now, fortunately, we live close enough together where we could split the day up and do both. But what if you were hours, countries, time zones apart? How would you do that? You'd have to alternate. We're doing that right now with son and daughter-in-law, right? Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, back to the point, the Christmas Eve gift opening was something that we did not see growing up. And quite frankly, most of the traditions that we implemented were traditions for our family. Other than the Christmas meal and the cooking and some holiday things, I don't know that we brought a lot from our families of birth, families of origin into our marriage, did we?
Just the cooking. And certain things that we wanted during Christmas, Christmas dinner.
Was that intentional? Was that by accident? Did you all not? I mean, it seems like y'all liked your Christmases growing up, but why did you all decide to do something new instead of bring
Great question. Traditions? So one thing I think a family needs to understand and agree upon, there are no sacred cows. So I know that you growing up, your mama and your daddy always did this. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that you always need to do this and bring it into your new marriage, right?
Exactly.
So we were very open-minded about not so much honoring traditions as we were about starting traditions.
I like that.
So I mean, there was very little in my family growing up that I can think I thought this was a must-keep. I can't think of anything that was on that sacred altar that, okay, we're going to do this in our family. I was very open, and I would encourage you to be very open and very flexible about how you're going to, because, hey, we're not a part of that family in the same sense we're part of this family. When you get married, you leave and cleave.
True.
Yeah.
So you got to be very careful about what you want to hold on to from what y'all did when you was 12. You're 35 years old now. You're still trying to, I mean, some traditions are good. And the idea of traditions, I think, are good, or those ideas are good in general. But, yeah, that's why we came up. We made up our own things as we go. The Christmas Eve.
Oh, the party.
The Christmas Eve party.
Oh, I love that party.
The yes. Christmas Eve party. So Christmas Eve, before the traditional Christmas dinner on Sunday, Christmas Eve, or on Christmas Day, the Christmas Eve was appetizers and snacks. Right. It was, sausage balls.
We used to invite a whole bunch of people from church and the community over, too.
We did. Mm-hmm. And a lot of your friends would come over.
Yeah.
And so that was a tradition that we started.
Yes.
Not sure how, why.
Because we didn't do that.
It's not something
family.
We grew up with, but it was just a way to include other friends as part of our Christmas celebration. Yeah. And we're talking specifically about Christmas. I guess we can talk about some other holidays, Thanksgiving,
right.
Easter,
New Year's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But okay, keep going.
I think Christmas is something that most people probably have the most traditions or the strongest desire to have a tradition around. So I feel like Christmas is a good one to start with and one that a lot of people can understand.
But holidays, there's so many. The interesting dynamics about holidays is that there are oftentimes unresolved issues, and tell me if I'm getting ahead. Unresolved issues. There are things that were not settled in your family, and now you haven't seen somebody in a year or maybe 3 or 4 years because you missed the last 3 or 4 holidays, and you walk back into this situation. And sometimes they're not very comfortable situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Where you don't feel like you know your family members anymore. I think that's this isn't, well, I guess this is a tradition. Speaking of traditions, we had our my dad's side family reunion this past summer, and I felt like a little uncomfortable because there were so many people I didn't know. And then it's also kind of weird when a lot of people know you because they knew me as a child, so they recognize me. But that was, it was, I think, uncomfortable initially. I expressed some of that discomfort with you all, where it's like, why weren't we more involved, and why didn't I know my cousins more, and da da da. And I was venting. I wasn't blaming them, but I was definitely venting and just like, what could things have been, if I had known my cousins and this and that. But I appreciate you guys for letting me like talk through that. And, my dad, he said to me when I was venting, he was just like, that's what this is for. Like, this is an opportunity. So you can get upset about what wasn't done, or the fact that you didn't know these people, you didn't grow up with them in close proximity, or you can take the time that you have right now to spend with them and get to know them more, connect with them, get their numbers. And we just had, very recently, we had a cousins meetup in Nashville. So that was an example.
That stemmed out of the family reunion in Chicago.
Yeah, that stemmed out of the family reunion in Chicago, which is a tradition that we have as a family to do every 2 years. Now, COVID had kind of disrupted that a little bit, but that's the same thing with my mom's. Her family side is every 2 years as well.
Right, and it has changed for sure.
So what I heard from what you described, Dad, because we didn't talk about that initially, which is just, it seems like there was a lot of communication between you two, and there was a lot of open-mindedness, which I think I would say like those two alone are like one of the most important things that you need in a relationship is communication, open-mindedness. There was a desire, I think, to really shape your own family, your own values, your own traditions. And it seems like y'all both had that. So, hey, you guys did choose well, I'll say.
And then I thought it was important that that you, our children, understood and spent time with both sides of the family. So I didn't know Teresa growing up. Our families are similar, farm families, Mississippi rural families. But I thought it was extremely important that as much time as we spent with my family, of course, my parents had passed away by the time you were born. But my extended family, my aunts, my uncles, cousins, moms, and her parents passed away not long afterwards. But, I thought it was important that you get to know both sides of the family. So I don't really understand the idea that one spouse would be insistent upon dominating the majority of the time around holidays. I know that happens.
That does happen.
Yeah. I'm not sure why it happens.
Well, like you say, they want what they want, or they want that tradition to stay, their tradition to stay alive. So that's really what they're thinking about themselves, instead of let's create something new, do something different.
And I think it's a lack of open-mindedness, and it's a little bit selfish.
It is. It is selfish. Just as you said, we leave and we cleave and we go with, and hopefully our husbands are open. Just like I say, I think we did a great job with that as far as sharing each with each other.
Another problem with holiday issues and holiday discomfort. Tell me if you agree with this. Is this, in fact, possibly the biggest problem?
What?
It's the parents of the parents with children. So you and I are married, right? We've got our own family. But a big problem that people aren't comfortable with, and I want to be really careful with this. This is almost a whole nother show about honoring your parents, right? So my mama, this didn't happen, I'm making this up. My mama keeps calling me, I know y'all coming home for Christmas, right? No, Mama, we now obviously we went to both houses. I've already said proximity worked, but I grew up in Seattle. You grew up in New York. My mama keep calling me. I know you bring the grandkids home for Christmas. No, Mom, we were there last year, so we're not coming. We're going to Teresa's parents this year. I can't believe you're gonna miss Christmas, and I can't. Mom, be quiet.
No, you don't want to say be quiet. You want to say no. You don't want to say be quiet. You want to say
honoring your parents.
I wouldn't say be quiet. I would say, Mom, I know you want us to come, and I'm so excited, but we're not going to be able to come this time because we came last time. So that's how it's going to be. So get used to that.
That's what you would say. Mm-hmm. What I would say is, Mama, be quiet. I'm a grown man. I don't live with you no more. I'm not coming to your house this year. I already told you that. That's what I would say.
I don't know if you would say
that.
Well,
that's not what the point is.
I'm just saying. Not to your mama.
The point is, whatever you're going to say, that's parents who don't recognize, in your case, grandparents who don't recognize. And you
that they have to share.
That they have to share.
They have to share.
Don't recognize, almost like they don't recognize your family, your new family, as its own living, breathing entity.
That's the point I'm making. I have left my mama's house.
You have.
This is my house.
Right.
So that's why, hey, Mama, you don't run this over here. But when you were a little boy, you did everything. You ain't a little boy no more. I don't live with you. I live over here at this place, my house.
Yeah.
So, yes, it can be relayed.
Here's the problem.
Yes.
For people who aren't as comfortable talking to the mama like I would be, that's why I said one of the biggest problems are the parents / grandparents who don't understand
we've said. Yeah, that your relationship is
right. They have not accepted that you're a grown up and you have now your own family.
And I don't think most people. I'd be curious to hear from the listeners. I'm always curious about what you guys say in the comments and your responses to our topics. I don't think most people are comfortable. Okay, dial it down from what I said to my mama, whatever you want to do it. But I don't think most people are comfortable
having the conversation.
Even having their because in their mind they are forever that little child growing up in their mama's house, and when I moved away, I understood my responsibility, very respectful of my mother and my father. But hey, I ain't living with y'all no more.
Yeah.
I have my own family, and sometimes our choices don't align. I wish they would. I wish they always would. But if I'm ever called to make a decision, I'm going to choose what's best for this new family.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a win-win-win. Hopefully everybody can win. But if I am forced to choose, I'm going to do what's in the best interest of my wife, not my mother, my children, not my father, not my cousins, not my so forth.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And sometimes as a couple can feel like they're being overlooked if they haven't decided and talked about this whole thing, that their desires and what they want is overlooked. So that needs to be addressed early. So this is what we're going to do, and we talk about it really in premarital. Mm-hmm. We at least give them. We tell them, think about this. How is it going to work? If he's wants this and you want that, how is it going to work? Yeah. So go ahead and start thinking about that now, even before you get children.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, because on this show, what we said we want to do is talk to our younger selves. Mm-hmm. So while hopefully everybody can benefit from our information, our advice, no matter your stage, mm-hmm. we're really targeting dating, engaged, and newly married people. That's who we're really speaking to, us at that stage of our life. So, Teresa, you just brought up an interesting point. In your premarital, in the time before you're married, these should be conversations you should be having. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do for Christmas? Just like our oldest son who's married, mm-hmm. We were very encouraging, and we never spent as a nuclear family holidays apart. I mean, during COVID we did, but given decades and decades of going together, once he got married, I was like, well, hey, you can't come here every year. You can't come here every year.
Not for every holiday. No, you'll have to share.
And so they alternate.
Yes, they do.
So what I'm saying is, when parents aren't that
enthusiastic or encouraging,
or that sensitive to the situation. It puts you in a very uncomfortable situation, but you have to be that forthcoming and that intentional in setting up those barriers.
Right.
It's almost like, I know we're talking about dynamics and around holidays, but it's almost like, so I guess I've switched from talking to dating, engaged, and newly married to talking to the grandparents and parents. Hey, don't do stuff to make your child's life harder.
Exactly.
You know,
And feel guilty.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot.
So your daughter comes complaining about her husband, or your son comes complaining about his wife, be very careful how you interact
Exactly.
with them.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes your daughter be lying. Sometimes your son be lying about stuff.
Well,
or distorting, or, let me try to use the clinical talk. Sometimes your son or daughter may be telling you things from their perspective, and you may not be getting the whole story.
Yes.
That's what I just said.
Okay. All right. Well,
They be lying.
Yes. Okay. Well, usually the mother or father, they know their child. So they probably know, and you don't side with your child unless, you need to hear everything.
Yeah.
So bring them together.
I was about to say, I
Deal
don't
with
think
it.
it's about siding.
You got to hear it.
Yeah, I don't think you should side with either person because I think
Be objective.
But I don't think people are objective. You're there.
I would agree.
Sometimes not. Right. They just listen to that side and yes, but
I mean,
we do
this
have to be
happens
objective.
Even with friends, that's something that happens where you might go and complain about. Like, I have a friend to this day who she will come to me with stuff that's going on in her relationship, in her marriage. And every time before she tells me something, she's like, I need to talk to someone who's not going to hate my husband after this is over.
Right.
Because she knows
That's
if she
a true
goes
friend.
She's like, if she goes to other friends, well, okay, you told me about this one thing he did. Now every time I'm around him, I'm mean mugging him, or I'm, being smart with him, or I've always got something negative or whatever to say to him because you told me this one thing that he did. And I'm very much not that friend where I'm going to... Because I'm like, this is the person that you're married to. Like, we're talking through this, you're venting, and I'm asking questions. What are your next steps? We're talking through things together. But when I see your husband next time, unless you tell me different, unless y'all get divorced, next time I see your husband, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Like, it's not my place to, I guess, what's the word? Be rude to him and disrespectful to him in that situation.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
All right. We went off the side a little bit.
No, I think what we did, and this is why I was like, I don't know if we should start where we did, because I was like, I feel like something's missing. So I'm glad that Dad brought in, we kind of needed to present, I think, what it could look like, maybe some conversations that you need to have so that you can have good family traditions and just almost set yourself up for success when you're navigating family during the holidays. And now my mom is going to get into, or should I say Teresa or my mom? It's so weird because y'all know her as Teresa, but I call her mom. Now my mom, Teresa the therapist, is going to get into the actual family challenges that happen around holidays. So we started with differing traditions and expectations.
Right.
You kind of read through what that means, right? People have different customs.
Right.
Somebody wants to do this one day. Somebody wants to do this another day. So what's the impact that can have on a relationship?
So loved ones can feel disappointed if they are overlooked or if their traditions aren't acknowledged.
And loved ones, you mean like within the husband-wife, or
right.
even just
the
like
couple.
The couple within the couple. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you just said. So how would you or I feel disappointed about what we did or didn't do for
I said loved ones may feel disappointed.
Then,
I shouldn't have said couples. Yeah, it should be
that's what I was
loved
asking.
ones.
Okay.
Loved ones, the people that you're going to see.
Okay, well that
those
makes
people.
sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an impact on the relationship. If we've got differing traditions, expectations, it's understandable, I would say. And because I think we're saying impact on relationship, but that doesn't mean it's a negative thing. I think in this case, this is an awareness thing. Hey, you guys have different traditions, you have different customs. So it's inevitable that people around you, someone's probably going to be a little disappointed.
Here's why this is important. You got to decide before you have to decide. That's why these conversations are so important before you're actually in the situation. Because in the heat of the moment, you can make poor decisions. So you want to decide before your mother, or in my case, I had My mom's passed away, but I got 4 aunts that are they're all like my mother. They don't have any children. Neither of them have children. So I'm like all 4 of them's child. So when they would say to me, oh, y'all aren't coming this Christmas, or you're not going to make it here, it was extremely disappointing to them, right?
Yeah.
And without having decided before I was asked to decide in the heat of the moment, maybe I would have caved. She's 80. How many more Christmases does she have? We need to make sure we get up there. But hey, I've decided before I had to decide, this is how we're going to do this. This is why these conversations are so important when you're dating, engaged, before, I mean, like Christmas is, 2 days away and you're trying to figure all this out. The thing about those kind of conversations and those kind of disappointments, you certainly feel like in the moment it can have a huge impact on the relationship. Sometimes there are underlying issues. You guys had an argument, or there's something from your childhood that's still lingering there, festering there in the background, which you're still trying to fix that or resolve that or address that. So sometimes it's not just about the holiday. It's not just about the missed visit. Mm-hmm. It's not just about we went to this house instead of that house. There's can be a lot of baggage there.
Yeah. The person doesn't feel seen. They don't feel understood. They don't feel valued.
And then, the other thing about holiday traditions that I think we have to be really careful about, I talked to you the other day about kind of actually doing a show at some point in the future about navigating kind of parenting adult children.
Yeah.
So I think this comes up when we're talking about traditions and making decisions is kind of what I mentioned earlier, is that I don't think everybody realizes, sometimes even the grown child, that they are adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that
listeners, y'all can let us know if that's an episode that you want.
Yeah. So I'd really like to do that, because I've but putting it in the context of this topic, one thing about going back home is that, again, the parents who don't parent as well as they could will continue to treat you like that little child. You're 40 years old, you're back home. You know what I mean? And it's just, I think we and again, I'm talking to that generation of parents right now. You want to be really, really careful in how hard you don't make life for your children and grandchildren.
So when you came home after grad school to stay, I specifically talked to you about help me not treat you like a child.
You did. We had a whole conversation about
it. Right, yeah. Because I didn't want that. I knew that I would probably try to do that because I know me. So I said, you help me not treat you like a child. And I was trying to be intentional and not treat you like a child because you're an adult.
And I think that's honestly one of the reasons that we live together so well. It works. It works so well.
Just for a little while longer.
Yeah, not too much longer. But I think it works because we did have that conversation and you all don't treat me like a child. Because I think at some point, either like for most adult children, if you are treating them like a child, at some point they're going to want to grow up. And then that's where that friction can be if you haven't had these conversations, if you've been treating them like a child this whole time. Or if they're acting like a child, you're treating them like a child, at some point you're going to want them to grow up. And so then you're going to start treating them differently and there's going to be friction there. So I think if you just have that conversation and you're like, I'm an adult, this is not a child anymore. You both understand, I guess at that point, your evolved roles. Mm-hmm. But I want to get back to these kind of family, like holiday family challenges that people have. So we talked about the differing traditions, expectations. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to get into another challenge, which is managing time between families.
Right.
Did we talk about handling difficult relatives?
Not yet.
Okay.
That's coming up.
Okay.
Listen, we have the outline for a reason.
Okay. Hey, if I had a copy, maybe I could stay on track.
It's right here.
So many couples feel pulled in multiple directions, right? So they got to visit the in-laws, extended family, or they're splitting time between divorced parents. So that's something to consider.
Does extra layer. If you're both divorced and you both remarried and you had kids, ooh.
The pressure to do that, to try to make everybody happy, can bring on just an emotional drain or a physical just exhausted.
Yeah.
So so that is something that we want to, I guess, have a little compassion for. That that there are families out here who have a very difficult time during the holidays, and giving them hopefully a few ideas that they can do that can help them manage better.
They have a difficult time managing all the time without like getting stressed.
Right.
So that's the impact it can have on relationships, is if you have a lot of different, like I said, if you guys were married, you had kids, then you divorced and y'all both got remarried, what's that that's exponentially increase the amount of people that you now have to spend time with, and that your kids have to spend time with. So I could see that when you talk about impact on relationships, it can lead to arguments, it can lead to resentment, feelings of guilt if you leave somebody out.
That's right.
So what's a tip for couples to avoid that?
So I encourage couples and their families to get a realistic kind of schedule, the best that they can. Communicate clearly and prioritize rest, because sometimes just saying no is the healthiest choice to preserve peace and connection. Now, let's get into. Go ahead. Oh, you have something?
No, I was gonna say, you know who's really good at saying no?
Who?
You. Mm-hmm. I think.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
I think, Dad,
he's good.
Are really good at saying no, and I think your son, my older brother, is also extremely good at saying no. I say that because I think you all are, and I am going off topic now, but I think as I'm learning, as I'm becoming my own person, I just notice how very self-assured and how very much my dad and my brother are their own people. They have a line of sight to something, and I guess it could be, this is a strength, but it could be a weakness, right? But I think you guys aren't so easily swayed by really a lot of different things. And if you have something that you plan to do or you have an intention, there's like tunnel vision, know? And so I want to have more of that. But I do wonder too sometimes if it's just differences between men and women, or just like the way society conditions men and women. So I think women are conditioned more to make concessions.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that is absolutely true.
So it's like I'm almost unlearning some of that conditioning, but I don't think you all had that. You and Jeremy had that conditioning.
So you know what this reminds me of? I'm offering advice, and we're having this discussion, or at least I'm with the presumption that the husband and wife are on the same page. So now, what if you and I, so not only am I fighting with my mother and my father calling me to come make sure I spend Christmas there. We spent Christmas there last year. I want to go to my wife's house. But what if you and I are on the same page? What if I really do want to go to my parents' house every year? What if you do really want to go to your parents' house every year?
And that's okay. You can want to, but you can't.
No, I don't mean just want to. I mean want to.
Insist.
And to the point when the other person says, we need to go to my parents' home. Yeah, and there could be so many dynamics. Maybe I don't get along with your parents. Maybe you don't get along. Maybe you literally don't want to go there.
Well,
because it's miserable to you.
Yeah, that could definitely be.
So that actually would take us into Mom's next point, which is handling difficult relatives.
Okay.
Because that's there's the only one reason I wouldn't want to go to my husband to be's family's house, and that's because we don't get along. That's the only reason it could be. So how can you handle difficult relatives? I think we understand the impact on the relationship.
Okay, so Teresa, you say the holidays can intensify unresolved family conflicts. I see that. Whether it's a relative who makes critical comments, someone who dominates conversations, or old sibling rivalries that resurface. Then you also mentioned alcohol and stress can amplify these issues.
Absolutely.
So yeah, wow. See, you're forcing me. With some of the examples you use, relatives who make critical comments. You guys are forcing me, Jim, nobody can make you do anything. You're putting me in a position where I may act differently. For example, if a person is critical, And guys, you just got to understand, my relationship with my parents were maybe just different. I mean, great parents, we had great relationships, and at the same time, I didn't have the fear of elders like people of my generation grew up with. We had really real conversations. So once again, if my father or mother had been really critical of my wife, that's something I would have put a stop to.
Absolutely, and that's what we teach in premarital. That's what I teach in premarital, is that if there's a problem on your side of the family, you take control of it. You check it.
And can I give somebody some verbiage now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here's some verbiage. Parent, it doesn't matter which one, is really critical of your spouse. Mom, can we talk about something? Dad, whoever it is, whichever. Can we talk about something? Do I enjoy coming here? Do you enjoy us coming here with kids, grandkids? Oh, I love it, love it, love it. Okay. You are making me not come back here. Is that what you're trying to do? No, I love you coming. Okay. When you're critical of my wife, let me tell you how I interpret that and what it says to me. Hey, this is an uncomfortable place for my wife to come visit. I do not want my wife to be uncomfortable. So Mom, so Dad, what these kind of conversations are leading to is us not coming here to spend as much time together. And hey, I'm your son. I'm going to always come back. Hey, I love you. You're my parents. So, but I'm just telling you, you're driving a wedge between you and your wife. No, that's just stupid, Mama. You ain't driving a wedge between me and my wife. You're driving a wedge between me and you. Is that what you're trying to do?
So yes, I would say that you have to stand up for your spouse.
Yeah.
Please do that. That is a must.
But
and I just want to underscore what Mom said, on your side of the family. So we're not just saying men to your family. We're also saying women to your family.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Old sibling rivalries that come up, somebody dominating a conversation. Everybody's got that relative who speaks their mind with no
filters.
Yes. I think I'm somewhat unfiltered, but
you're not. You are reasonably unfiltered.
But I don't have a shotgun widespread approach. It's more in individual conversations. I don't just be talking for the sake of talking to groups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's the distinction. But I also think you're unfiltered about things that actually matter, or things that are your business, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
I'm just saying we don't want the relationship. I mean, the issue with that to cause anxiety and stress within the couple, and replace the joy of the gathering.
Yeah.
That's the most important, that we are in there having a good time. Or does it lead to some type of avoidance or emotional shutdown where you're just, not comfortable? And that's why the spouse needs to take care of their side, whichever one it is. Handle it.
Set those boundaries.
Set the boundaries. Absolutely.
Ironically, the next topic on here is setting healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
So how do you actually set healthy boundaries?
Well, communicating as a united front.
Yes,
I mean,
that's right.
I don't think people get, we mentioned this, but maybe we glossed over it. I don't think people fully understand and are committed to the leave and cleave.
I would agree with that.
That's a thing.
So, and I didn't know we were going to talk about this, or I would have looked up the scripture. But what we're referring to is in the book of Genesis when God invented marriage, and He said basically, here's what's going to happen: you're going to leave this family, your mom and dad's new house, and you're going to cleave to this family, your new house,
to make that a new entity,
and the two shall
be
become one.
Yes.
So that's what we're talking about when we say leave and cleave. So I don't think people, Jim, what are you saying? Am I abandoning my
absolutely not.
My parents? No, that's not what we're saying at all.
No.
I mean, it is a physical shift, but I think it's more a mental one than a physical one.
Hey, some things we've heard. Here's a not so funny story that I actually have heard two men say on two separate occasions. This is why I say I don't think people fully understand leave and cleave. I've heard men say, and one of it, you tell me if this rings a bell in one of our premarital sessions, but I've heard men say Jim, my wife is never going to come before my mama. And they said this, I can get another wife, but I can't get another mama. Were you in one of those sessions with me?
Yes, and we yes.
I've heard that from two separate.
Didn't have an understanding of what was.
Why are you so shocked that
Who would say that?
I just told you I've heard
Why
twice.
would you say that?
Like I say,
That's
it
like
just
one of those things
didn't.
that sounds like it's logical, but
Is
it's
it?
illogical. No, it sounds good. It sounds. It makes sense.
Does it?
Because it's like, yeah. Well, when you say I can get another wife, I can't get another mom. That's true. Technically, it's true.
And the thing is,
you will
we're
only
not
have one mother.
We're not asking you to I guess ignore or not acknowledge your mother. You just have to set some boundaries to say, Mother, this is how it will be. You know, I'm married now, and my wife does take priority.
Well, I think that's what Dad's saying. They don't even have the wherewithal to say
do that. Right.
My
I
wife
agree.
takes priority.
I agree,
I'm shocked.
they don't
I'm so
understand.
shocked.
You've never heard the story before?
But
It's like I've never heard it put in those words. I've heard stories of like,
No,
like,
you've never heard us tell this story before. Oh, yeah.
But that's why they're in premarital. They're learning. And that's why premarital is so important. So that we can teach what you're about to do if you're going to be in a marriage. So we can teach that. Help
we're
you
talking
understand.
Setting healthy boundaries and communicating as a united front as part of setting those healthy boundaries. You guys need to be on the same page. And we do the episode? We did an episode about parenting, right?
Yes.
Don't let parenting ruin your partnership.
Yes.
So much like that, that's going this way. The same thing. So that's going down. You know, Teresa and I, our children. It's the same thing going up. Don't let parenting ruin your partnership with your children, and don't let your parents ruin your partnership with your wife and husband as it relates to their relationship with you. So it works both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it backwards. Don't let children ruin the relationship you have with your spouse. Don't let your parents ruin the relationship that you have with your spouse.
That's not what I said. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. So some ways that you can set boundaries as part of communicating as a united front. You could say before we walk in the door, I think we've done this, Teresa. Hey, Teresa, at 8:00 we're going to leave.
Yeah, we've done that.
You know, or hey, Teresa, how long do you want to stay?
Yeah, you've done that.
Because a lot of times in those situations, you were more of a prolonged leaver than I was.
Yeah.
Do you understand what that means?
You were ready to get in and get out.
No, but you understand prolonging
like Mom
the
would
departure.
take forever to leave. She'd be like, "We're gonna get out of here," and then
Hey,
like,
that don't need to take 30 minutes. So
I think Mom's got it right. Give them 30 minutes notice. Hey, we're about to head out in about 30 minutes. Like, but you're not saying that's what I did.
Gotta say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah,
Finish the conversation.
We were somewhere recently. I can't remember where it was. And I said, okay, I'm about to leave. And this was not on you or me. It was on the person. It's like they doubled down on the conversation then. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
They didn't want you to leave.
I get that. But one of the reasons that we came up with this was not so much because there were problems with the people we were visiting. It's just that I didn't trust Teresa's ability to cut off conversations.
Did you know that, Mom?
I'm sure.
So yeah, when we set a goal of when we're going to leave, you know, then I felt, you know, more comfortable. Sometimes I just go like load you guys up and get in the car, and then Mom would usually always the last one out. And then sometimes, even my family, they're at the car, I just put it in reverse. Hey, they're hanging on. Hey, get your hand off the car. You might get drugged down the street because we leave.
That's so pitiful.
That's not pitiful. It's just, so
I just visualized that. That's not
right.
That's funny.
Hey, I've been here 3.5 hours. Don't act like all of a sudden you got something to tell me. I mean, anyway, what's next?
The next boundary is saying no with love. And I think this is connected to the communicating as a united front. I think you've kind of gone over that a little bit, but Mom, is there anything we may have missed from the saying no with love?
I just want people to be comfortable with boundaries. Boundaries don't mean that you have to be harsh or cold. It is just you're saying no just to protect your own peace, your own comfort, and it's not rejecting people.
Yeah.
So there's ways to communicate it. You know, you can say beautiful things or nice things. And you don't have to be harsh. But you're setting boundaries for your own mental health.
You ever think people have too strong? Is there such a thing as your boundaries being too strong?
Absolutely, that's possible. I'm not sure I've ever seen it.
But no, I think if
is there such a thing?
I think it could be. Yeah, I think it could be.
But what would be an example of somebody's boundary
That's what
being
I'm
too
asking
strong?
too. Yeah. I don't know.
Like I have a boundary. I call them rules, right? So I have a rule. You know how I say decide before you have to decide. So I have a rule that, and I don't know that it always serves me well. Anytime you ask me a question, I've already decided this, right? Anytime you ask me a question and you need an immediate answer, my answer is no.
Yeah, I know that rule well. I remember that.
So I've decided. Now I don't know that it always serves me well. You know, I'm trying to think of some examples to answer your question when somebody could have too strong boundaries. Maybe there are things that demand spur of the moment decisions to the affirmative. You know, but I came up with this. So was that an example?
You know, it was an example, but it wasn't an example. I think that my question may stem from the former people pleaser in me pushing back, where it's like, you gotta have boundaries that are that strong about everything all the time in every aspect of your life.
Well, what's an example? Let's try to think of a potentially too strong a boundary example.
Well, I mean, one thing is where if you and Mom call me, like 9 times out of 10, now I guess it'd be different if I was like married or something, but 9 times out of 10, when you and Mom call me, I'm probably going to answer. I'm going to I'm going to answer the phone. I'm going to text you back. I'm going to see what's up. Whereas some people, it's like, hey, it doesn't matter what's going on in my, like, it doesn't matter what they're calling me about. I will not answer my phone right now because I'm doing this or I'm doing that or I'm
pretty much on that program.
Yeah, that's wild to me.
I'm pretty much on that program.
That's wild to me. I know, I asked this too because about older brother. I feel like he, you know, there's stuff where I'm like, I'll drop something and help him out and this and that. But if I ask the same thing back, he will not. And that's his boundary. So it's like, I can't really get mad about that. Hey, but you get what I'm saying. Let me ask
you, you know, we had this conversation with a couple back in Mississippi. Remember about the phone calls when a child calls or a spouse? Hey, let me ask you this question. How many times have you gotten an emergency phone call? In your decades of living, how many times have you gotten an emergency phone call?
It doesn't matter how many times I've gotten an emergency phone call.
It doesn't?
Though that one time you call me could be an emergency.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm always going to answer or text or something.
Exactly. You're
just
about
a moment.
To the whole boy who cried wolf a little bit.
No, I wasn't.
That's what it feels like.
No,
it's like if there's never been an emergency.
But it's interesting that, because I kept asking you for an example of extreme boundaries, and the one you used is my boundary. Because you'll say to me sometimes, don't you see your phone ringing?
Exactly.
If I'm calling, see my phone. Not with you calling. You're sitting right beside me.
Well, if it's
and you'll say to me,
answer the phone.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
I'm doing something.
Now I want to be. I think this.
But then I say, you know what? Well, it's one of your friends.
I think that's where it is for me because
it's one of your friends. Why aren't you answering? Something could be wrong.
The privileges
and what am I going to do?
I don't know. Just talk and listen to them.
Emergency phone call?
Apparently, it could be. You don't know.
I think my issue with what we're talking about is when I feel like family and friends, there's certain people in my life who I have more lenient boundaries with. They get access to certain privileges.
Right.
And that's one of those privileges. And for some people, they don't have that kind of levels. It's just blanket.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
That would be too much.
Let me ask you a question.
But Dad said that is how Dad is.
So I've got friends that I talk to, that whenever, and I know this is gonna not come across well, but whenever their wife calls, it's like a scurrying and a panic. It's my wife calling. Let me answer the phone. I don't mean like they're, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but if they call 3 times in a row, if they call 3 days in a row, it's my wife calling, answer the phone. Hey, you know how I feel about my wife. I'm not on that program.
And that's why I ask, is there such a thing as too strong boundaries?
That's why I asked you, is that an example?
I think it is, because you would think that the one person who that wouldn't apply to would be the woman you've been with for the last 40 years.
What could,
this is why I say
could be so important that I need to answer the phone right now?
You won't know until you answer the phone.
I've never had that phone call.
And I pray you don't have it.
I've never had that phone call.
I pray you don't have it then. Because every time you call me, I try my best to answer.
Well, I may be called about something important. That's different.
Oh, my God.
That's different. I may be called about
Sounds like a double standard to me.
Exactly.
No, I
exactly.
don't. But what could the call be? The house is on fire. Did you call 911? What? You're calling me? I'm not a fire person. Anyway.
So just know that love and respect should frame your boundary.
Yes.
Whenever, that's the main thing. Love and respect. Whenever you set the boundary.
I think I've done that.
Okay.
I wonder what the audience feels about this.
I would love to hear that.
I'd love to hear your comments. Hey, Jim. Hey, I did get a comment the other day. Basically, that guy's stupid.
What guy?
The guy on the show. There's only one guy on the show.
What'd you say? What was the video about?
I didn't respond to that.
No, what did you say in the video to make them comment that?
I don't remember what clip it was and what the topic was. But I told that story. I love comments, but I've gotten several comments I thought were out of bounds, and so I did respond to some of those. Hey, appreciate you commenting. We don't have to be disrespectful in commenting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. We can have difference of opinions and different perspectives.
We can disagree without becoming disagreeable.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, but that's the culture that you people, your generation resides in, with keyboard courage and lashing out behind the anonymity of social media.
Hey, I'm a victim of that as well. Don't look at me.
That's you people.
I'm not in that group. I'm a recipient of that keyboard courage. Okay. I'm a victim of that. So.
What's next to finish up?
With the healthy boundaries.
With the healthy boundaries.
Right. So you want to prioritizing your relationship. Taking some time for you guys during that time. Let's see.
And if you prioritize this relationship, by extension, won't that, I'll say, force you to set boundaries? Or now there are these people. Hey, mama called, so I'm gonna do everything with my family. I may not get to mama's house until 10:30 at night. Because, Jim, I heard what you said, so I'm prioritizing my family, but they're in the bed now, so now I'm going to go down, and I've got these examples where parents live relatively close, or it's Sunday after church, or it's time when the husband feels like the family wouldn't miss them, but I don't think that's sustainable.
Yeah. Well, this is specifically talking about being intentional. With spending some time with your spouse during the holiday or during that time,
because you're so busy that that busyness can lead to all kind of other issues.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Earlier we mentioned leave and cleave,
right?
And I didn't realize that you'd actually included that verse as part of your preparation. I mentioned I thought the idea came from Genesis, but I see that the actual verse I want to refer to is Ephesians 5:31. For this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Now, that's a different version than the whole leave and cleave, but it's the same idea.
Yeah.
And then you remind people, Teresa, leaving and cleaving isn't just for the wedding day.
Right.
It's a lifelong boundary setting process.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like you've heard me tell the story. You've told the story on here because I think, well, no, everybody's not good with it with their children. But it's like I said to you on the show, I said to you guys growing up, this is mom. everybody else, including the children's down here, and I guess I'll add in this episode, including our parents. Now, there's a whole nother thing. Hey, Jim, my parents have moved back in with me. My parents are disabled. My parents need my help. I mean, there are all kind of specific situations that I'm not referring to in my general comments. But generally speaking, we talk about leaving, cleaving. There are times when a child is elevated above our own personal thing. We got a crisis going on, so we're going to put things on hold to deal with this. Right. And there are times when that might happen with your parents, grandparents, but that should be the exception, not the rule.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You also mentioned, Teresa, choosing to prioritize your spouse may mean sometimes disappointing extended family, but Scripture's clear. Your first earthly covenants with your spouse, protecting that bond honors God.
Right.
And you also include in here, above all else, Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Why don't you put that in there?
Well, I just thought that was just an encouragement verse. Guarding your relationship is a part of guarding your heart.
Okay, now, so what we invite our listeners to do is to discuss your plans for the holidays, set boundaries together, make sure you're on the same page. Again, I didn't realize you said you were excited about this topic when we started. I didn't realize the similarities between dealing with my parents and being a parent. And so what this made me think about is, so in our parenting style, we would oftentimes have a meeting before the meeting.
Yeah.
So we're about to meet with the children. Let's Teresa and I meet, make sure we're on the same page. I didn't think about the correlation between we're about to go visit your parents, my parents. Hey, let's have a meeting before we go do that.
Yeah.
Make sure we're on the same page. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the meeting before the meeting.
Yes. All right.
What else did we not
That's
cover?
the one. Ooh, if we had to give an action item to the audience, that's the one action item.
Have a meeting before the meeting?
Yeah. Have a meeting before the meeting.
All right. Take us out.
Yeah. So, hey, thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully this has been helpful. We always like to lead with encouraging you. A lot of the advice we offer, steps we share with you, are going to be a lot harder without you having settled into and decided on that I'm going to have a personal relationship with Jesus. So that's what we invite you to do. And we're so passionate about this that we've actually added a section to our website called The Cure. I want to encourage you to go to marriagewithjimandteresa.com, the same place that you can go and get the free copy of the book, and click on The Cure. And we want to walk you through how to have that personal relationship with Jesus, why it's important, why it's the most important decision you can make. Jim, I thought my most important relationship was with my wife. No, actually, my most important relationship is not with Teresa. My most important relationship is with Jesus. Now, it helps this relationship work better.
Yes.
But when I talk about setting boundaries and setting priorities, Teresa is not the main priority in my life. That would be Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So thank you so much. Again, we invite you to share, subscribe, like. It helps the reach expand. Just as a reminder, go get your free copy of our book at marriagewithjimandteresa.com and go take a look at The Cure. I think you'll be glad that you did. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.